Oh yeah, are you seeing this right now? Are you seeing what I'm showing you? Can you feel your eyeballs melting yet? If they're not, just give it a moment, because I'm about to introduce to you the most stunning movie you've never seen. It's gonna be hard for me not to get caught up in what I'm showing you because it's just so beautiful. Wait, what was I saying? I'm a moth and this movie is my flame. It's utterly bewitching to me, both visually and sonically. Actually, that's my segue. Bewitching, witching, witches. Yes, witches. This movie has them. For those of you unfamiliar with the story, yes, this is an adaptation of a 400-year-old play by old mate William Shakespeare, a legendary tragedy about a Scottish thane, which I think is kind of like a nobleman picked by the king, who receives a prophecy from a coven of witches telling him that he's about to level up through the Scottish sovereignty all the way to the throne, which he does in a rather bloody fashion, and how the paranoia of that process drives he and his wife a little bit loopy. It's a simple story told with a whole lot of dramatic flair thanks to director Justin Kurzel and DP Adam Arkapour. Yeah, the guy responsible for the look of True Detective. But I know what you're thinking right now. Ew, Shakespeare, which was the exact reaction this thing was met with when it hit theaters in 2015 because ouch. Yeah, no one except rich old folks and theatre nerds like me are exactly clamouring for Shakespeare films in the 21st century, especially ones that go all in on the traditional language, which this one does.
It is too full of the milk of human kindness to catch the nearest way.
Oh yeah, it's the real deal, and I get how that is a huge turn-off for a lot of people. I mean, what the hell are you saying? But here's the trick that worked for me. Don't think of it as dialogue, think of it as lyrics, like a song or a poem. It's called verse for a reason, right? It's as much about the rhythm of the words as it is about the wordplay itself, and that's a whole nother thing for another day, because whether you're fluent in Shakespeare or not, this adaptation takes all that spicy word soup and turns it into a cinematic mood piece. Here, the images do the talking. Well, less talking, more yelling, screaming more like it. Just look at it. You don't get frames out there much louder than this. Macbeth is about as elemental as a film can get. It feels genuinely primal, bordering on savage. This take on the classic play is obsessed with the ugliness of human behaviour that can come from a toxic mix of grief and greed, and so the sensory manifestation of that is all sound and fury, a world of fire and blood. Seriously, I don't think there's a single frame here that isn't set ablaze. It's like a pyromaniac's heaven, and that's how things were done in the Middle Ages, lit by flame, and so the film is mostly shot in the crude glimmer of candles or campsite embers, causing the light to anxiously dance and flicker across the performers' faces, which is a pretty great way of visualizing the fact that your characters are slowly losing their shit. And with fire, of course, comes smoke, and shit, even if there is no fire around, Macbeth keeps the fog rolling in. Smoke, or atmosphere as it's often called on film, is a tool that allows the light to be painted in 3 dimensions across the frame, giving a tangible weight and colour to the spaces between subjects in any given composition. It's called volumetric lighting, and this movie goes crazy with it, using it to almost flatten the image into lateral layers with contrasting foreground and background, and then texturing every single pixel in between. Every frame a painting, right? Like when the extreme slow-mo hits and the moment is just frozen in time like that, when every single particle becomes traceable by eye against a canvas of colour, that's art. Honestly, tell me, does this look like a $15 million movie? I don't think so. I think this thing is running visual circles around studio blockbusters that are out here splurging 10 times that, and all it took to look this striking was a couple of real locations and a smoke machine. Or probably 500 of them, and the talent of Kurzel and Arkapour, you can't forget that. And I can't forget the score here by Jed Kurzel either, because holy shit, it's just as jaw-dropping as the visuals, just this beautifully rustic soundscape of droning, sliding strings and clashing chaotic percussion that's equal parts pain and primal hunger. God, this movie is just so overwhelmingly beautiful to me, and no one talks about it, you know? So I had to. I just had to. And yeah, Shakespeare's original play is so freaking brilliant in its exquisitely worded exploration of legacy and the addiction of power and the fundamental paradox of prophecy that I could do an hour-long SparkNotes extravaganza on it, and those are all things that I think this film adaptation absolutely aces, but hell, I guess I just wanted to talk about how it's the most stunning movie I've ever seen.